If you're struggling, you definitely want to watch this because 98% of the population is struggling from one key component and one only: procrastination. Now, I want you to ask yourself, do I procrastinate? And how many opportunities is that costing you? How much has it cost you over the last year? Waiting is by far the most expensive decision that you are making every single day, because procrastination is not a time problem. It's an identity problem. It's fear in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is programmed to keep you safe. So why do people keep procrastinating? They're worried about not knowing the outcome. So stay with me until the end. I'm going to show you how to become the person who acts. Here's what procrastination actually is. It's not laziness. So I don't want you ever to consider yourself lazy. It's not poor time management, and it's not being undisciplined. It is your survival identity keeping you safe from the version of you that would actually succeed. Now let me ask you a question. I want you to think about how you want to live, what you want the most. And I want you to ask yourself, are you protecting yourself from the thing that you want most? Because what if it doesn't happen? What if people are laughing at you? What if the people in your family are saying, I knew it wasn't going to happen? So every time you delay, then every delay, it reinforces I'm not good enough. It reinforces the timing is just not right. It reinforces that your survival identity just want another day. And most of it has nothing to do with the thing you're procrastinating on. It's rooted in fear. It's rooted in perfectionism or a belief system that says I'm not ready yet. I want you to ask yourself, how many times have you said I'm not ready yet? You are never going to be ready until you do a thing. So it's not going to be any easier you waiting another day, another week, another month. You have to start acting on ideas when the fire is hot. And I mean acting with a swagger before you're ready, acting with a knowingness. Because how do you get knowingness? How do you get confidence? You have to act, and it creates a visceral experience. But here's the cost that nobody talks about, because you're not going to feel the pain of procrastination in that moment. But every day you delay, the compounding interest of inaction accumulates, and you're paying for it in the future. Like right now, you and I, what we're doing in this moment is creating our future. The investment in our future is right now. That's why we want to start making every action, every decision, every prosperous thought of our future in this present moment. The deal you didn't go after, the hire you postponed, the offer you never launched. All of us have procrastinated at some time. That's just because of low self-esteem. I'm not acting like I'm perfect. The old me, the one that was driven by that survival identity, used to procrastinate. But you don't want to follow that person. That person was losing at a high level. When I started behaving before I was ready, when I started doing it right away, when the fire is hot, when the idea comes, you got to act right away, everything started changing in my life. And that's how I went from failure to succeeding within months. And so can you. See, your subconscious mind uses every delay as evidence that you're not good enough. And you will never attract what you feel on a subconscious level. If you don't feel worthy, if you don't act like the person who acts before they're ready, I promise you, you are literally costing yourself millions of dollars in opportunities, in connections, and in income. Now, identity is built through the accumulation of your actions and your inactions. See, it is so easy to change our identity if we would just step out and act. Step out and act and don't even worry about the outcome. I'm more interested with my clients on the actions they're taking. Why? Because they're going to get rewarded. Even if they fail, they're going to get rewarded from some other source. It's going to come in. You are rewarded by your actions. You're not just rewarded by thinking and planning. See, our speed to execution has to be so fast. Most people have these brilliant ideas they just sit on. And they say, I'm not ready yet. Procrastination. And that's literally costing themselves millions of dollars. Now, there are two types of procrastination, and they're both costly. The first is visible, what you actually see. The email you haven't sent, the phone call you didn't make, the offer that you keep over planning instead of stepping out and offering it. The second is where most people get trapped, and it is dangerous because it is disguised as productivity. We love feeling good because we're busy. Busy does not mean progress. Perfecting instead of publishing. We've got to step out and act. Researching instead of deciding. Planning instead of executing. Now, I gave you a multiple seven-figure idea, but I'm going to give it to you again because you may not have picked it up. You are going to get rewarded by the speed from idea to execution. We got to execute fast. That is the game-changing idea. That literally is a multiple seven-figure idea I gave you. And I want you to ask yourself, how fast do you go from idea to execution? That's the game. That's where the top 1% live. They execute fast. They implement fast. They act fast. They decide fast. So what is really the cure for procrastination? It's decision before evidence. It's doing it right away. That is the cure. Now, I remember, how did I do it so fast when for 2 decades I was doing the opposite? Because my back was so against the wall, I didn't have time. I had to burn my bridges. So I didn't have time to think and say, what if it doesn't work? I just got into being the person that I wanted to be by the decisions and actions I took. That's the cure. Their survival identity is that subtle voice that is saying in the background, and it demands proof first. Show me it works, then I'll decide. Let me wait till somebody else does it, then I decide. Lost opportunity. But the wealth identity commits first and lets the evidence follows. So I want you to ask yourself, think of the last idea you acted on within a millisecond. That's how fast I want you to act. You get an idea, the idea is burning hot, you act. You get an opportunity, you don't overthink. If it feels right, you act. In some of the things that I don't want you to act on, you get an opportunity, doesn't feel right, you say no. That's still not procrastinating. It's still a decision. You get to choose who you're becoming before the world confirms it. Who are you deciding to be? What are you going to choose? Are you going to keep choosing comfort by procrastinating? Or are you going to bet on yourself? Are you going to step out and show the world that you are worthy? You are worthy of a person to be bet on. You are worthy of great income. You are worthy of great impact. That starts with how fast you act. And here's why this works every single time. Most people wait for clarity before they decide, but clarity always comes after decision. Not sometimes, always. See, people are always working on, I need to be clear. No, you need to know what you want. You need to move before you're ready. That's it. Get clear, move before you're ready. Know what you want, get moving. The moment you commit, the whole universe conspires on your behalf to make it a reality. Your mind is going out the minute you commit to find resources and paths that didn't exist before. The fog lifts the moment you decide. Think about a time you decided. You're like, I'm done. There's a line in the sand and I'm going to go do it. We've all had it in our life at different levels. So why do smart people keep waiting? They wait for the perfect moment that didn't exist and never will. That's survival identity. They think they need more information. The survival identity keeps sabotaging. Why do people sabotage? They have an underlying fear. They need to look good. You don't need to look good. You need to live good. You are only going to live as how you treat yourself. The world is going to treat you just like you treat yourself. So you keep delaying, guess what? Your dreams are delayed. Your dreams are literally dying. And those are the people that the fear of being wrong. What if it doesn't work? When inaction is the only guaranteed way to be wrong. Let me say that again. Inaction is the only guaranteed way to be wrong. You are being paid in different experiences in your life by one thing and one thing only, the actions you take. We are rewarded by the actions, which brings us to speed. The gap between inspiration and action is where futures are won or lost. That's where it is. There's a gap. We have an opportunity. That's why we have to do it now. I remember, I'm taking you back almost 2 decades ago. I was getting mentored by my mentor, Bob Proctor. And he said, have you studied any of W. Clement Stone's work? And I said, a little bit. He said, I want you to study one thing that W. Clement Stone did. He said, Arash, when I changed my life, I did, and I want you to do the same. He said he had 3 words, and he said, do it now. Stone kept saying, do it now. Everything, when the idea comes, do it now. And that's how I lived my life for almost 2 decades. And that's why I went from failing to being financially free. Now, I'm telling this to you because you could do the same thing. Every inspired idea has a short window because in our consciousness, We have a power flowing in through us. Within a second, we're either choosing to do it or not do it, choosing the positive side of our personality or choosing the negative side. The positive side is your wealth identity. The negative side is your survival identity. It's like an angel and a devil on your shoulders. Once your survival identity talks you out of it, it's done. That idea is dead. Day one is where the wealth identity lives. Day one is acting on it. I just need you to do it one day at a time. Day one is when you're going to say, this is incredible. Day three, you're going to say, well, I don't see the results yet. Day seven, well, let me go back. That's the survival identity. However, if you make every day day one, where we start with this is incredible every day. This is incredible. This is an incredible opportunity. You're never going to talk yourself out of it. The ideas don't fail. The implementation is what fails. Let me say that again. The ideas never fail. It's the implementation. What attitude am I working the ideas? Am I working with the attitude of knowing the outcome before it's done? Or am I working with the idea, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it trepid? You've got to be relentless. You've got to be determined. When you're determined, you never quit, you never give up, you just act. And then you have this internal GPS inside of you that's going to show you the next action and the next action. That's how big dreams happen in small amounts of time. So understand this. High performers don't have better ideas than you. They have faster implementation. Are you going to move fast? Are you going to move faster than you've ever moved before? And if you're going to move fast, I want you to say, I move fast in the comments. I want you to really lock that in. And when you do that, you watch how fast you're going to start creating one quantum leap after the next. Move fast and you tell your subconscious, I am someone who acts, but you're telling it something even better and bigger. I am somebody who has self-belief. I am somebody who is worthy. I am somebody who is leading by example. But every time you stall, you tell it, I'm somebody who's not good enough. I'm somebody who always needs permission. I'm somebody who's scared. Scared doesn't win. You've got to be bold. Abundance demands us to be bold. So go launch imperfectly and improve in public, because perfection is just procrastination wearing a suit. That's all it is. I want you to be imperfect, but I want you to act. When you act, you are going to have the greatest competitive advantage in the marketplace. Now let's get to the root. Your survival identity formed to protect you when you were young. And your subconscious mind is that shadow that's keeping you protected. It says, stay small, stay safe. Don't be seen, don't risk, but you're risking it all. Every time you procrastinate, I procrastinate, we're risking such an amazing opportunity. It may turn into nothing, it may turn into something huge. I'd rather give myself the chance, because you're not gonna hit any shots you don't take. I tell my clients this all the time. We've got to plant more seeds. What does planting seeds mean? It means thinking bigger. It means taking action. These are planting seeds. I want you to triple the amount of seeds you plant this week. Watch what happens in terms of your productivity and results. At the time, it was adaptive, but you are not that child anymore when the survival identity came in. Now you're an adult. You are ready to create a world-class life. But understand, if you don't kill off the survival identity, it's never going to update. You're going to be running the same program throughout the rest of your life and live the same year for 50 years, and you're going to miss out on so many experiences. See, I want you to go big. And if you haven't watched my video on abundance, you've got to go watch it, because then you've got to burn that idea that I taught about in that video. But you've got to go big because you deserve it. There is nothing you're missing. But we've got to get you to stop procrastinating and acting. That's why 98% of the population is struggling. Let me show you how to dismantle and kill off that survival identity. Let me show you how to kill off that old self. First, you got to identify it. Name the belief. What is that fear? What is that fear that's holding you back? See, beliefs are interesting because they're based on past experiences, but they're not necessarily true. They're only true because we believed it to be true in the past. You cannot dismantle something you don't expose, so we've got to name it. We've got to be able to say, my belief is, what if it doesn't work? Boom. What is the opposite of this? I'm going to bulletproof myself with everything in my favor. I'm only going to think about why this is going to work. See, I just interrupted that belief. The moment you catch that out loud, the moment you say it, This is my survival identity. It does not run me. You say, I'm not interested in that conversation anymore. You just interrupted the survival identity. Now it lost its power. Now you keep doing this, everything's going to change. And then you install the new belief, going from I'm not ready to I commit at the highest level. And then you write down reasons why you commit, because you and I do things only if we have enough reason. And you act on that idea within moments. Like I want you acting right now. I want you to get off of this video and take an action you've been procrastinating on. You will transform your identity in this moment. Because remember, a decision without action is delusion. Wishing and hoping doesn't create great lives. Action does. Impact does. Getting better does. The speed of your decision is going to be the speed of your transformation. And the moment you decide, when there's no proof, is the moment your future self starts running the bus. And when I can get your future self to run the bus, everything's going to change. Your future self is so much brighter, so much wiser, so much more courageous. And it has experienced such a different life than you. So here's your declaration. I decide, I literally want you to be convicted in this. Because if you say this without evidence, without authority, the way I'm saying it to you, then it's not going to have any power. But I want you to say this 5 times a day, 3 times a day. I decide before I have evidence. I act before I feel ready. I am a wealth identity. Let's do it again. I decide before I have evidence. I act before I feel ready. And I am a wealth identity. Now, you've got to watch this over and over again, because I told you 98% of the population is struggling because of one thing and one thing only. And I just gave you your competitive advantage. I just walked you through a massive quantum leap from an identity perspective. But you act on doing it now. So here's my task for you. For the next 30 days, I want you to write do it now and keep it with you. And I want you to carry it everywhere you go as a reminder. I want it in your car. I want it on your bathroom window. I want it at your office. I want it burned in your mind. We've got to get this idea burned in your mind, because once you do, you're on your way to freedom. Thank you so much.